welcome to the second night of the PGL Season 1 Last Chance Group. If you thought tonight was good, it's only going to get better from this stage. My name is Henry G. Tonight I'm joined by Metis and Natu. Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing great, thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Excellent
Although
stuff.
It's boiling hot, but
Other than that,
it's all good.
We can't talk about that every single night.
I know.
We have some good Counter-Strike ahead of us, for sure.
Some very good Counter-Strike ahead of us. We've got 3 big games. Yesterday we saw a lot of best of 1, 5-game action, went on to quite late in the evening, but tonight is when it really comes together. So before we get into that, let's have a quick look at the tournament structure, and we'll try and break down how that's gone down so far. So we've got 3 main groups here. It's going to be the US, EU1, EU2. US is yet to happen. That's going to be coming up after the last chance next week at some point, but EU's Group 1. We've got the winners there was going to be Virtus Pro taking down Navi there in the group stages, and then the EU Group 2, Fnatic going through. And that means that's where we are right now. We're in the last chance qualifier. So this means anyone who didn't proceed with their groups has one more stab at this to get to the LAN finals. And like I said, we've got the NA groups coming up. So having a look at what happened yesterday. Navi versus Dignitas, a pretty one-sided affair. Kind of a damp squib there, I think. Felt like we didn't really get the game we wanted. Obviously, Navi playing very well. Dignitas being a little bit of a letdown. TSM versus Mousesports. I think you can probably say the same thing. That was an overpass. We saw Nico not really stepping up to it, and is one of the guys we expect to go big just because of his current form recently. We didn't see him show up, but moving on further, Kinguin did take down Dignitas, and that's going to be the end of the run for Dig there, and add to a current form of bad results, to be honest with them. Not qualifying for a lot of tournaments and now not qualifying for this one. So they're going to be disappointed with that, but obviously in this tournament you can see the caliber of teams we have here. Never going to be easy.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's always going to be really cutthroat with the system right now as well. We're doing best of ones, and I think these teams can really beat one another all the time. So yeah, it's hard for a team like Dignitas.
So that brings us on to today. So like I said, it's only going to get better from tonight. So Kinguin versus Mousesports to kick things off. Gents, how do we feel about this one? I think, in my opinion, I think Mousesports look like the stronger team as of late, but Kinguin, obviously, you can't take anything away from them. Very high-skilled team, can do anything, really. And I predict we're probably going to see something like Dust 2 coming up as well, which is going to be a really explosive game.
Yeah, don't forget the fact that Kinguin actually beat Mousesports. Obviously, not with this iteration, not with Nico and Mousesports. 3 occasions in the PGL qualifier, the first qualifier. So, there's history there too.
So then the winner of that game goes on to play Navi, and then TSM are waiting in the final. That's the best of 3 stage. We have 2 best of 1 games coming up, and then the best of 3 where TSM currently lie after winning the upper bracket yesterday. They will not have a map advantage there, so it's going to be a traditional best of 3. They just get the privilege, I guess, of sitting there waiting for the other team to join them. So that's going to be interesting to see how it goes down. Obviously, TSM will be watching these games with eager eyes, I think. But Navi, obviously, we feel like they probably should have got through their group, doing pretty badly against Virtus Pro in the final of their group stages. Went down 3 maps after having the actual advantage going into that.
To be honest, my expectation was TSM winning that group, and then Virtus Pro, Navi being the last chance. But Virtus Pro's recent form has been really good. Obviously, Major they did pretty well. Online they've been struggling most of the time, but now recently actually they found their form online as well, which is great to see, and it's going to be fun to see them here in a month's time.
That's kind of VP in a nutshell, though, right? Like online, they typically are very hit or miss. LAN, they normally show up. So it's good to see they're finally getting some form on the cards and, moving through towards that LAN final.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that they've definitely had a slump of form recently. Like, obviously, the Major was their resurrection. It felt like they've definitely got some good form. And they obviously won Siva before that as well. But looking for the month before that, they seemed like they were struggling. It was difficult to see where the lineup was going. But they always bounced back. They had a change of roles. We saw Neo picking up the AWP role, Pasha going back to AK, and it seems like those guys really have picked them up. But as we could talk about that all night probably, but the thing everyone's here for is the Vulcan picks, I think. And tonight, obviously, a little bit tricky. We have got 4 teams here, but I'm always suck at this thing. So I think we'll have a look at my team first and see how this one goes down.
Good luck, sir.
Yeah, good luck. Definitely needed. So I suck at the strategy of this. I know what the good players are, but I always struggle to work out who's going to be doing well here. So obviously my tactic here was TSM. I took 3 players from them. So either way, they're going to be playing a best of 3 tonight. So at least 2 maps coming from them. If you invest in the other guys, you're never going to be quite sure how that's going to go down. Obviously, you can try to predict who's going to win there, but at least at TSM, 2 maps at least. So I picked up Cajun Beat, Dupree, and Carrigan. Carrigan, obviously, he's gone up in value recently. He was kind of hovering around the $900 margin for a while. I think he has stepped up and proven himself as to why he can be at this sort of level. Then Dupree, Obviously, one of the best riflers in the world, always a very viable pickup. Cajun B as well, we saw yesterday how good he can be. Great hybrid player, phenomenal with the M4, amazing all player as well. So, especially on Dust 2, we see him go absolutely ham sometimes. But let's move on to Team Kinguin. I don't think I picked up anyone from these guys just because I don't believe them against Mousesports. I really do think Mousesports will win. Best of one, obviously, that could come back and bite me, but this is the whole thing of fantasy sports. You have to take some risks, right? You have to spread your bets and try and hope the teams you invested in go forward and prosper. But Navi, let's move on to them. Obviously, they're going to be playing the second game tonight, but another decent chance of making it through to the final. So I picked up Flamey and Seas, the two of the cheaper players from Navi, but definitely I haven't got myself bad players whatsoever. Flamey, one of the greatest riflers on the scene right now. Seas as well. We talk about his one-on-X situation play, being able to hold bomb sites by himself and kind of get his team back in from difficult situations. So very happy with those two picks. And then finally, this is where I invested a lot of my cash here tonight, is going to be on the Mousesports team. So I have got Nico. Obviously, we have seen him be, I'd say, for the majority of the tournament, been excellent, like way above, heads and shoulders above other players, but has had some quiet nights as well. Yesterday, obviously, said against TSM, very quiet showing from him, but I have justified him as my shot caller as well. Nex and Chris J, that's the holy trinity, I think, we always talk about. Those three, if those guys go big, you are in for a treat. So in the best of one series, I do favour them against Team Kinguin. So that's where I've gone with it. I'm not sure how you guys have approached this one, but it's going to be interesting. I assume, Metis, you're up next. So why don't you talk us through your lineup and your picks?
Now, yesterday I came in last place, so
Right.
I have quite a few things to try and prove today.
So
I kind of learned it.
When you went home yesterday, did you kind of analyse your strategy? Did you look at what you're going to do to kind of get back
I
into
think
this?
I analysed the fact I picked no TSM players, face-palmed, and then
Right.
said, okay, I'll pick some TSM players this time. So
Okay.
I've gone for Cajun B, you can see there, from TSM, and Carrigan as well. I think these two guys, Carrigan was, as you say, like cheaper, I think, yesterday by quite a margin, but he was definitely picking up a lot of frags. And also towards the end, you can see I picked Carrigan last. I had a couple players around the $1,200 mark that I need to choose from, and I thought Carrigan was a solid shot for TSM.
Okay.
So going through to Kinguin, I did go for Rain and Scream.
Right,
Now,
interesting.
yeah, it is interesting. I agree with what you said before. You've got to spread your bets a tiny bit more, and I do feel that Mouse should win, but I've got a sneaky suspicion that maybe Rain or Scream are going to go huge. And you can see there, Scream's like one of the cheapest players as well, $969. So I thought for that's a bit of a steal. If he goes off,
Sure.
the guy can bag himself so many frags. Over to Na'Vi. Again, I went for Guardian. I said I was a fanboy of his yesterday, and I've followed through with that. Plus Seized as well. I think you picked him as well, didn't you? In
Yeah,
your
I
team?
got Seized and Flamey.
Yeah.
Guardian is sometimes difficult to pick up the AWP players just because you lose out on the headshot bonus you get on Vulcan with those guys. So you have to be careful who you pick with the AWPers. But I agree with the Guardian pick. Obviously, he's a world-class rifler as well and gets a lot of frags with the AWP. So definitely always a viable pick, just very expensive. And we talk about his form not being not bad recently, but not the godlike levels we've known of. So still definitely a strong pick. But let's see how you went with Mousesports there.
Yeah, and then finishing it up with Mousesports, I went for Nico. I also made him my shot caller alongside yourself. I learned from that mistake yesterday, and then also picked up Chris J because for some reason I've got a feeling today he's going to perform. We saw some glimpses of it yesterday. Again, $972 for a player of Chris J's level is a bit of a steal. Very similar to how I felt yesterday with Rain.
Just before we move on to Natu, I'm seeing tweets coming in about ice hockey, and is that the Crosby guy? Is that what the Matt talked about? And Penguins, I saw.
I totally missed that.
So can we not have any tweets about ice hockey tonight? Stadicus is not here, and I'm banning all tweets regarding NHL. So let's not actually have that tonight, please. But Natu, please take us through your team.
All right, here we go. So I picked two players from TSM. I picked up Cajun B and Dupree because it's just the fact that they bring numbers and they'll be a huge factor in TSM, in my opinion, winning this. But only picked up two because I believe Na'Vi is going to be the team that plays the most maps, so I invested heavily on Na'Vi. Team Kinguin, I only picked up Scream just because he was cheap, and it let me pick a bit more heavily on the teams that I was expecting to win. But I thought $969 is pretty much a bargain for Scream. Then going to Na'Vi, this is where I put most of my dollar into. Yep, Edward is going to be my
shot caller.
Yeah, it's going to be my shot caller. I have faith. Edward, Flamey, Seized. I think that's going to be a solid trio to have from Na'Vi. And like I said, I think they're going to be playing the most maps. That's why I have a shot caller from Na'Vi as well. At Mousesports, this time I'm not having Nico. I'm having Nex and Chris J. Just so I could put more emphasis to Na'Vi.
Sure.
I didn't go for Nico, so I went for Nex and Chris J, which I also think are going to be bringing some numbers. They're going to be, in my books as well, winning team Kinguins, that they're going to be at least playing 2 maps. I'm probably going to bring some numbers in there. So there we go. That's my Vulcan team.
So far, we've got a different range of strategies here and opinions, but let's have one more look. We've got the PGL and Twitch chat picks coming in here. So let's see where they went with it. So 2 players from TSM for them as well. Dupree and Carrigan, I think similar picks to us, but they're trying to obviously, I've got 3 players from TSM, but like you said, Natty, whoever you think's played the most maps tonight, you probably should go with them. So Kinguin, I'm interested to see who they've picked up from them. No one. So similar school of thought to me. No players from Kinguin whatsoever. So you'd assume they've invested very heavily into Mousesports and Navi. Let's jump onto Navi and see where we lie there. So here we go. Yep. Zeus, Flamey, and Seas as well. Flamey being the shot caller. I think that's one of the first times we've seen him as shot caller this tournament. So that's interesting. An interesting approach, definitely. So let's go on the Mousesports and see. I assume Nicolino has been picked up here. Yeah, so Nico, Nex, and Chris J, like we talked about that Trinity, such big fragging potential between those guys. Chris J, very reliable, good AWPer, good M4 player as well. Nex, we saw his potential on Dusty yesterday, always good for 2 or 3 frags it seems like. And then Nico, obviously one of the big storylines of this whole event, came into this tournament as the ex-substitute who was rolled back in to replace Speedy and seemed to be playing phenomenally recently. So interesting set of tactics coming in from all parties here. It'll be nice to see who comes out on top. Hopefully for once I won't come last or 3rd place. I think 3rd place has been my best so far, so I'd like to avoid that. But before we jump into the proper analysis of the next game, we are going to take a very quick break here, and don't go anywhere because we'll be coming back with the first game. All right, welcome back, Counter-Strike fans. You're just in time for the first game this evening. We have Mousesports versus Kinguin. And although this is a best-of-1 series, I can't wait to see how this one goes down. Just because the explosive factor of both teams, we've got very big fraggles on either side. We talk about that Holy Trinity on the Mousesports side, 3 amazingly big players, but same thing goes for Kinguin as well, I feel.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a massive where individual skill is going to be showcased a lot. We're going to see a lot of aggressiveness from both sides. And when those 2 things clash, when you have aggressive versus aggressive, it's always going to be entertaining.
Absolutely. Metis, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I actually can't wait for it. I think you mentioned before we could be seeing Train now, which is phenomenal when you consider the 2 teams involved.
Potentially.
Yeah.
You may have ruined the theatre of the picks and bans there, but maybe.
Scumbag.
I was just speculating when I went on the server as to what it could be. But yeah, definitely a lineup that could prove to have a lot of fireworks on the server. But before we kind of go into too much detail as to where this game's going, let's have a look at the lineups of both teams. I think we have Mousesports coming up first. So let's have a look at this one. Natty, do you want to bring us through this lineup?
Sure, yeah. Let's go quickly through there. It's Nex, Dennis, Nico, Chris J, Gob B. We've seen them play a whole lot these past week or so. And, there's a lot to talk about. Like you said, Nex, Nico, Chris J. I think there's a triangle of this team. If they perform, they're going to be a force to reckon with. They're going to be a hard team to beat for anyone. Chris J especially, like we talk about, he had maybe a bit of confidence issues around the major and afterwards, but he's been picking up that AWP, and I think he's, together with Nico, that guy that can make a difference and actually put them to that next level. Yeah. And when you have someone with Nex's talent as well, I think we have not seen the best of him yet. He's going to really, I think it's going to be even better down the line. And Gobby, one of the most hardworking in-game leaders out there, does a lot of theory work, spends hours and hours on theorizing with strategy and watching other teams and learning how they play to counter them and obviously find new ways for his team to play. And can't forget Dennis either, a solid rifler on the team as well.
Absolutely. Well, I think that summed it up. Let's have a look at the Kinguin lineup here. I'll try and paint a picture as to how this one may be going down here tonight. So, to quickly summarize, we've got Rain, Dennis, Michael Fox, and Scream. Starting from the right there, Scream, another CS Source player who came into CSGO and heralded was one of the best aimers and one-tappers the game has to offer in terms of the AK-47. We've definitely seen that throughout the PGL qualifiers and stuff like that. He has got crazy aim potential there and one of the scariest players to play against when he's on form. And going on to Fox as well, was one of the best AWP players, especially from Portugal, and the kick lineup is there. He was brought into this because he was such a legendary player within that scene. And now he's moved back into the support role, which has had some sort of controversy surrounding it. A lot of people saying he's not really committing the same. It's difficult to actually articulate this properly. I'm trying to do it in a way that's fair to him and fair to all the arguments people are putting forward. I guess what people are saying is he's very quiet now. He's not what he used to be, and he's put into a role that he's not comfortable doing. But I disagree with that. I think it's quite clear that he can handle this role. He does it well. He does what he has to do and makes sure he actually gets the frags needed. And, we'll just go into the passing counters quickly there. So we look at this. It's actually 3-0, and it was all in the PGL. So that's all very recent as well. But this was the qualifiers. This was before we had Nicolino in the lineup. This is when Speedy was still there. And it's kind of interesting that so maps like Train as well, Kinguin actually had Schneider playing for them as well. That's Merck coming in. So I'm not sure how much we can actually take away from these results, if anything, because obviously there's so many different factors coming into this. We've got different lineups for Mousesports especially, and Kinguin, the last time that she played was with Merck. But let's have a look at the featured matchup here and see where that lies. So we picked up the AWP players tonight, and I think this is kind of interesting just because these guys with the AWP have a very similar style.
Yeah, both players are really flashy, you could say. So-called frag movie type of players that do a lot of flick shots, really fast reactionary things, and maybe overly aggressive at times when they just go for that peak when they maybe don't even have to, but more often than not they land that shot as well, so maybe it's justified as well. But both players very, very flashy and interesting to watch.
I think one thing to note as well, we don't normally see Makaleli or talk about his scout potential, but Chris J on the other hand, definitely one of the scariest players in the world of that in hand. I think although scout, it sounds kind of cheesy and we don't really like to talk about it too much, it is very viable in the current meta of the game. It does shift momentum in favor of, especially the CT side, I would say. Being able to hold angles, jump shoot as well, and be almost annoying with it can be a huge factor.
Yeah, it was really annoying, especially when you have rounds where when you have Chris J on the scout and then you have like a Tech 9 round or a 5-7 round, depending on which side you're playing. And if Chris J can tag like 3-4 people in any given occasion, it's going to be really annoying for your opponent.
But this is one of the things. It's a blessing and a curse, I feel like, for Mousesports. Obviously, when he's making all the headshots and getting the tags, it's brilliant. But when they do that round on the second round, after losing the pistol, and they go into the first gun round after losing that one, and they don't have an AWP on Chris, I feel like it affects the team pretty heavily. They rely on him for the AW picks quite a lot, and if the economy does get broken in that way, that's when you feel like the scout comes out more and more often. And against the AWP, I wouldn't say it's a real viable matchup, and that's something that's been a common trend, I think, for Mousesports.
Yeah, exactly. I think what Mousesports need to learn is that, especially depending on what kind of a team you're playing against, when to force buy and when not to. Especially, I think Navi is a great example of a team. When you're playing against them, I think you should not be force buying in those second rounds. Instead, spending that money and getting Molotovs and stuff like that going into that first weapon round is much more viable. That
rings very true as well. In the best of one scenario as well, I think you don't want to be taking those huge risks. So you haven't got the bed of the 3 maps to play with, especially. You want to make sure you're investing, playing the percentages in your favor to win the game, not just necessarily win the round.
Because things can go so quickly wrong. There's nothing to work with anymore.
Well, let's have a look at what the arena will be tonight. Let's have a look at the picks and bans. I predict it'll be something like Dust 2. That's what I'd love to see, but it's actually going to be...
It is Train.
It is Train. So, yeah, you did. But it's fine. We've built the hype back up. Interesting enough, like we said, the last time these guys actually met on Train, Kinguin did win the map, and they had Schneider stepping in for them, so that is interesting, but we can't really take too much away from that.
Yeah, I think the smartest ban from my point of view is Mousesports banning Dust 2, even though it's a map they usually like. I don't think anyone should be playing Kinguin in Dust 2 because that's an individual skill-based pug style kind of a map. So Kinguin is one of those teams you'll just want to avoid on Dust 2. You can ask Cloud9 about that too.
Well, do you remember Nicolino at Long A yesterday? I'm not sure what the hell you can do against that, to be honest. That's why I wanted to see it.
It's risk assessment, right?
Rain versus Nicolino along would have been great, I think.
but then Nico didn't have a fantastic game before that, and therein lies the issue of Mousesports. You never quite know which one of them is going to show up. If the Holy Trinity, as you coined it, if one of those players doesn't show up and the other two can't pick up the slack, we see how Mousesports just absolutely crumble, as we saw in that first best of one yesterday. So 64% chance to win.
That's what I was going to point out. 64 Kinguin.
Very ballsy.
On Train.
Like we said,
where do we get these odds?
I think it's a mix of the recent results and what we've seen within the PGL as well. So obviously they have played each other in the qualifier for this tournament. So that's what makes it been both on. You can never take too much away from the stats, as it obviously doesn't take into consideration lineup changes or that sort of stuff coming into it. So although it's a good guideline to see where the last results have gone, definitely you have to consider. I think the last couple of days is the most important, especially for such a fresh lineup Mousesports are presenting at the table. Seems like they've definitely changed their play style. They're not so The tactical prowess is not as strong as it used to be. I feel like they're still getting stuff together and still polishing everything off since Nico's come into the lineup.
Yeah.
But still, that doesn't really matter when they've got so many big fraggers on the team. Just getting them into positions where they have the opportunity to be in one-on-one duels and get the bomb down, that's what I think is going to be important for them. So I'd like to see their T-side especially, lots of fast-paced tactics. Get out there. Don't rely too heavily on just working the picks. I think that's where they'll have a serious problem. They won't be able to dissect the lineup of Kinguin too easily.
Yeah, I think Train is the one map, like we pointed out before on this broadcast as well, before in previous days, that Train is the one map where numbers you shouldn't be reading too much on, because teams are still learning. They're changing their play style pretty dramatically as well. It's, again, Titan being the best example, where first they were playing really slowly. They only picked up one gun round, a weapon round, but then coming into the second occasion on Train and just playing really aggressively, just rushing a lot and looking like a totally different team. So a lot of things still in the works for a lot of teams on Train.
Well, the thing about Train as well, a lot of teams do have the same playbook essentially. There's not too much that's just too diverse in terms of the actual strategy and executions. You have three real options, I'd say. You work the kind of 2-1-2 sort of setup, working the picks towards Ivy, have the AWP towards main, and then you have two guys kind of flanking, holding for aggressive pushes.
I think we saw a lot of the pre-smoke stuff early on in Train, but then when CT started to learn how to really counter that well, how to use Molotovs and flashes to make it really hard for Cheese to attack, we've seen a lot more fast-paced, just coming in, kind of throw the smokes as they are, as you're coming into the site at the same time instead, and not pre-smoking things, similar to like Mirage A side as well.
Yeah.
People have learned how to counter that kind of a strategy. Dignitas coming out with that strat they have, where they smoke as they run into the site, like things like that.
A small change to the equation always.
Yeah.
But let's have a look at the predictions now and see what you guys think this one may be going. So EGB opening things up. I'm not going to try and work out how odds work, but as I say, obviously favouring Kinguin slightly there. So you can see that one coming up on screen. Moving on, Esport Gaming. Once again, Kinguin being the slight favours there, going over 50%. CSGO Loud, this is something I do understand. 60% in favour of Kinguin. So a lot of teams actually favouring these guys, the international lineup this evening. Oh, there we go. Hazel TV, dead even.
50.
Haven't seen one of those, I think, the whole time.
The problem is right now, like, what are you going to base your prediction on? Basically, it's just going to come down to how you feel. I don't think past results have as much impact on this, prediction-wise, considering the lineup changes, the stand-ins and whatnot. So I think it's still very much wide open. And I actually do think myself that Mousesports is going to be the one favorite here.
Sure. Okay, chaps, I'm going to ask you now for your predictions for this first game. Metas, let's start with you. Don't have to give me a scoreline necessarily, just your thoughts going into this first one.
For me, so far, of the 2 days that we've casted, this is the hardest one for me to call. Because I'm not a betting man to start off with, but if I was, I would have no idea where to go with this one.
Okay.
I'm going to edge ahead with Mousesports. I said this in the Vulcan pick as well. I do feel Mousesports, for me, if Nico shows up, I think they should have this. But honestly, you never quite know with this game.
Well, you did actually pick up two Kinguin players as well.
I did,
so you obviously have some doubt going into this first game. So, Natty, how do you feel?
D-Train, the Mousesports be Fnatic on this, and their CT side after switching Chris J to play inner bomb side and Nicolino playing Ivy, just made the mechanic and just the way they played so much better, and it felt like Fnatic really had nothing going on. So I do feel like it's going to be Mousesports winning, but it's not going to be easy for sure. It's going to be double digits for the losing team as well.
My sentiments exactly, I think. Obviously, I picked up 3 Mousesports players tonight and 0 Kinguin players, so that obviously goes to tell you, if I said Kinguin may win this one, I'd probably be blowing my own trumpet there. But definitely do have to favour Mousesports going into this just because of the way it lines up. Let's have a look what Twitch said as well. So they actually think Kinguin are going to win tonight. So we're all against those guys tonight, but like you said, Metas, it's definitely one you can't really definitely say it's black and white. Oh yeah, it's Mousesports going to win. We know that they have some troubles performing on some nights. If it's the first game of the evening and certain players don't arrive, then it could be a very difficult situation. We know the fragging potential that Kinguin have, especially players like Scream. If Makaleli gets rolling with the AWP as well. Rain, obviously, one of the best clutches in the world. If he starts getting clutches on the board, they could be in for a very difficult time indeed. Remember, Rain against VP at DreamHack Valencia. He got that absolutely sick 1v4 in one of the closing rounds of the game. So definitely so many anomalies here that could actually factor the final result. And the best of one as well, like we said, the economic management's going to be huge, especially for the CTs. Well, as the in-game leader, it's going to be a very high-pressure situation. This is it all in now. If you lose this map, you're not going to the LAN final, and that's a heavy blow. So every decision you make here in terms of the buys and whether you do the second round force as well could affect the final outcome here. So it's not a match I'd like to experience that sort of pressure, but it's going to make it an absolutely amazing spectator experience.
Yeah, and just going back to Rain as well, the guy had moments of absolute brilliance yesterday. We saw him getting like 3 entry frags onto sites. He was just spraying down perfectly on Mirage, I think it was. He was just an absolute revelation. So I completely agree. If he shows up as well, things could get very sketchy for Mousesports. And I think this could be a very, very entertaining game to watch. With the two teams being as aggressive as they are, as Natty said before, and somewhat unpredictable at times, on train as well, I think this could be an absolute fantastic game.
Well, the thing about CT as well, you need to keep mixing things up. We see a lot of teams going aggressive inside quite a lot, especially players like Taz for VP. He's great at pushing inside. He's got a perfect read and a really nice usage of smoke to go in, get information, boost himself up on the railings, and actually work out what's going on. I think we'll see a lot of that. Ivy pushes as well as CT. Mousesports do that quite a lot. Chris J with the AWP, he'll go push Ivy and face towards T-spawn. And obviously, if he doesn't get any confrontation in that area, it gives great reads as to what might be going on. So definitely that's the kind of plays that are required to catch your enemy out and actually force some rounds in your favor before they may have begun or before the execution is allowed to begin. So we can see all 10 players on the server now. So one would assume we'll be going in pretty shortly. I believe we had some ping issues to kick things off. The fun of online CS sometimes, but it seems like everyone's pretty stable right now.
So for the newcomers to CS that may be just tuning in for first time, or maybe they've played CS but don't know Train too well, Henry, we talked about this on Overpass before about Connector being a real hot spot where you need to control. Is there any areas on Train that you feel need to have special attention?
It's kind of, you don't have the same sort of heavy contention in between bomb sites like you do on Mirage, for example. Like middle, we talk about that being the headline area. That's the place of you need to get control of, and it opens so much more for you. Obviously, there's different options. We're talking about a picking game. You have Ivy, Pop Dog, Main, and that's normally the places you can find a frag if you're patient enough and you know how to hold the angles. But if we're going for straight up executions, the A-bomb site, the wall of smoke tactic as well, that's obviously very viable. Sometimes it's just a case of getting the bomb down and forcing a post-plant situation. That's when you can utilize obviously the pressure of the bomb ticking away and the intensity of being in that clutch situation before any frags are exchanged. That's always very exciting. You'll see a lot of CTs pushing up very close just to kind of counter those smokes going down, and that's always exciting to watch as well. Carrigan can be one of the world's best players in that position. He's really clever and knows how to his movement perfectly, and that's what can be a defining factor sometimes. But I actually missed the knife as I was blabbering on there. So who actually won?
Mousesports, I think.
Mousesports,
yeah.
Okay. So obviously both teams, we know they can play Train. Very close game in previous encounters, but we do go into the first pistol round. Obviously, for anyone joining us, this is Mousesports versus Team Kinguin. This is a best of 1 on D Train. So the CT side will be Mousesports looking over towards Team Kinguin as well. Let's just have a quick look at their buy and see how that stacks up. We can see 4 sets of armor. Scream's going to be the utility player this time as we go into this first round. Let's see where they're going. Most players heading towards Ivy, actually. So you'd assume smoking the left-hand side and trying to burst out together with the bomb. In one player going towards Pop Dog, trying to potentially hold some flanks there. And the first frag does come in from Nico, though.
Yeah, and a second as well. Both one taps to the craniums of Dennis and Fox. He does get taken down. This allows the CTs now to get all the information in the world. The question now is, I said Kinguin yesterday, a fantastic pistol round team, and they are bouncing back with a vengeance. Makalele with 2 frags. And even though Nico opens up beautifully through Ivy, it's not looking too good for them now. The jumping burst Glock, I think that was from Makalele for his 3rd frag. And here comes Chris J. He's connected the first shot. He has no defuse kits, so he's going to need to get a move on. He knows where at least one of these players is. But is he going to expect the double stack is the question, and the answer is maybe not. There's Rain with the headshot. Kinguin pick up the pistol.
Yeah, what a monster round from Makalele coming from Pop Dog and getting all those kills. Basically, it looked so much for looking to go to Mousesports with Nico with those insane USB shots to start off with. But yeah, Makalele, he man of the round.
Yeah, we'd see this, the opening frags. We thought this one may have been tied up at that stage. Nico obviously played the right play, tried to get out of there, but as soon as they came out of Ivy, got taken down. Like you said, Makalele, that nice flank from Pop Dog takes down 3 players, and that's a huge round considering. And now we have got the force buy coming in from Mousesports as the players made their way out of Pop Dog here.
Yeah, 1-4 in trade though, although 2 CT players are incredibly low. And as we can see, the rifles plus scout on Kinguin should be more than good enough to deal with this. Here comes Chris J from the back, though. He's making this expensive 2 P250 headshots in a row. And he's taken a Galil and managed to live the fight for another day. He has Kevlar as well, so aim punch is not going to be an issue for him. The question is, can he stop this plant? It hasn't gone down just yet. It is moving towards that A side. And Fox will have that planted very shortly. But this is a round that Kinguin would have been fancying themselves to tie up very comfortably indeed, and now there's a chance that maybe they're going to let this one slip away. Still, though, Chris J definitely in a disadvantageous position. Not fancy him to clutch this one out. And decent positions as well from Kinguin.
I think he will be going for the save here with no kit. He has got a Galil and armor as well. It's definitely worth a save. We talked about Mousesports forcing into the second round and costing themselves the AWP, but if we look at Chris J's money, he actually, after the 3 frags he actually picked up and potentially saving this round, I think he'll be okay. 1,500 in the bank right now, so potentially still could have that AWP dream. And you can see the last 2 players from Kinguin surviving there as well. So like you said, expensive round for Kinguin, but when you get the bomb down and win the round, it's normally not too bad. We can see round Rain going to get the Mac 10 in hand. And we said it's normally the good reaction for this means you can go into bomb sites, particularly like somewhere like inside, not have to face against armored players and get some quick headshots on the board. Makaleli actually not going to be buying anything whatsoever. They're keeping the silence USP, and now obviously suggests he'll be going for the sniper rifle himself next round. So looks like another fast play from Kinguin now.
And with that Mac 10, this makes a lot of sense. You can just get all up in the grill of the enemy and just take them down. And we see the aforementioned USP doing work for Makaleli, so that's going to be funds into his AWP buy-up next round, and a clear-cut round as well from Kinguin. So a lot more what you'd expect from them. And that Galil on Chris J didn't really do anything that round, although not necessarily his fault. It was really good set play down. Yeah,
that's the whole thing. Kinguin just went for a very fast to take out there. Not really much you can do in the pistols, and that sort of position is very long-range map train traditionally. So I was going to say, Chris J could have picked up the glass cannon there, but he's actually opted to go for the M4 here. So they've got 5 rifles, 5 smokes as well, so they have got a lot to play with in terms of holding the terrorists out here. But all 5 players actually going to be heading towards the inside area so far. It'll be interesting to see where they head with this. I'm going to go try and pop the arc. It seems like everyone's going to commit to inside. Kinguin normally do his first gun round. They'll try and do something quite fast and surprising.
Yeah, no AWP as well on the side of Makaleli, so that USP just going straight into the AK-47. And you can see here that Chris, his spidey sense is potentially tingling. He's just going to back away, try and hold a better angle. The issue here, though, I was about to say that he's kind of by himself, but there is a player in connector there, so he should be okay. Smokes, flashes, the whole 9 yards coming out from Kinguin. And here we go, the push is in, that last flashbang absolutely wrecked Chris J, but he's still in the same position on this angle, gets the first frag. Dennis in the meanwhile answers back onto Rain. Nex is pushing up round here onto the site. Nice frag onto Fox, looking for a second, he picks up the second, not quite able to land the third, but the damage was definitely done, and Mousesports, an important round for them, take it with 3 players remaining.
I'm not a huge fan of that play. When you don't have any presence on the map as T-side whatsoever, and you don't show any sort of players towards either Ivy, Main, Pop Dog whatsoever, it's almost silent out there. It's almost very easy for the Mousesports not to rotate whatsoever. They had 2 players waiting for them, Next picking up 2 huge frags, and the set piece came in from the T-side, but didn't lead to anything. But we saw Makaleli not investing too much of that around the AK, and we can see that aggressive push. Nico going to be pushing Ivy right now. Will he be able to make anything of this?
Oh, not really. He's going to get him. No, he's not going to get him the second time of asking. Scream survives with 6 HP. And that could be a crucial frag as well on Ivy. They now have to send a player over there from the CT's perspective, and they're caught in transition from Rain. So huge opening picks from Team Kinguin. The CTs are going to be struggling here.
Absolutely. Not really much you can do to get in. 5-on-3 situation. This is definitely Kinguin's one to lose. They're not committing too much here. They know they've got the picks in hand. Just going to smoke off key choke points now and try and stay as a unit.
Well, Nex is still doing work. He started very well today, so that's maybe good signs for Mousesports. The issue is that he's just been taken down from Rain. And Godby is trying to hold on with Chris J, and he can't do much from this position. Chris J behind the site is going to peek out, and there is Fox again. 4 players left alive for Kinguin. Very good pick, but it all came off the back of 2 entry frags.
Yeah, the big problem really there at Mousesports, just dying 1 by 1, really. There was no revenge kills whatsoever coming in there. Kinguin making it look really, really easy, to be honest with you.
Well, now it's obviously the hell situation for Mousesports here. You win
in the
1
best of
gun
1
round,
as well.
in the best of 1 especially. You go back into the next with $1,400.
They're going to buy next one as well. We all know that, right?
So yeah, what they could potentially have M4s or FAMASs.
UMPs.
UMPs, yeah, you're right, actually. They love a UMP on train. But now, another simple round you would assume for Kinguin here. They're going to be aware of where the money lies. Dennis just trying to work some sort of intel. He got actually headshot for his trouble as well. So he goes down to 37 HP. But the CT, you can see one of them pushed up into the lower rounds. Could be Chris J. Pretty nice position. Could cause some damage from there.
We've already seen that P250 is capable of landing those headshots, so he's got a pretty decent angle for it, I guess. But Rain, again, is going to get the opening pick, and he starts to push through connector. He is looking for any CTs that are really straggling across, and he does find one. Will get traded out from Nex. Nice second frag from Nex as well. So he's doing work with the Deagle, but the issue is it's just strength in numbers from Kinguin, and they do pick up the 5th round as expected.
Well, look at the money now for Mouse. This is what me and Matt were just talking about. It's about 3,500 average across the board, I'd say. One player, they're not actually going to force buy this. It's going to be the quasi buy. So loss bonus kind of helping them out a little bit. You can see they can justify some body armor, some Deagles, some 5.7s, but saving about 2k average in the bank means they will have a decent buy next round. So they're actually showing some discipline here, and actually give themselves a chance to have a full gun round next time.
Let's see if it pays off for them. Taking fairly passive rolls. There's Nico again, the 1D. Gives him a real lifeline in this round, but here comes the retaliation from Kinguin. Scream lands the first shot onto Nex, who's been instrumental so far. There's Fox as well, chiming in, and this force not quite paying off just yet for Mouse, but as you said, they are going to be able to get weapons next round. It's all on Chris J. He's been the last player a couple of times, does get a pretty nice 5.7 shot, and the second as well, but that's all she wrote for him, and Kinguin moved to 6 rounds now.
Yeah, well, as Mousesports was able to make it pretty expensive for Kinguin there. Obviously, Mousesports is doing a buy there, which allows them here to get a affordable situation. They have a bunch of nades to work with, and Dennis buying an AWP actually. It's not Chris J on the op this time.
That's interesting, right? Because that's when you know Chris J is not feeling confident. He actually admits it. He's not going to force the situation every single time. He'll allow Dennis to actually take that role.
At the same time, he's playing inner bomb side, so maybe that's a choice.
He's got the Orc as well. We've seen him play the Krieg a few times this event. What can he do with the Orc? Definitely a viable weapon, but can he make it work for him in this situation? He's going to get some confrontation as well.
Oh, there's 2 frags. It's Dennis that comes good for Chris J as well. He's still at the back, but he gets picked off. Long range from Rain, who gets another 2 entries. This guy is on fire right now. And this would be such a scary position if Mousesports lose this 8th round. They're trying to push in. They're trying to play the aggressor. Godby goes in, gets himself 2 frags. That's absolutely huge for the CTs. But now Dennis is coming back with frags of his own. Pushing on through onto the site. He gets tagged and fragged from Nex. Good hold from Mousesports, but they do lose 3 players.
I think we can conclude that Chris J also can work with the AUG as well, getting that pick there together with Dennis and making it hard for Kinguin into the bomb side. It could have been even harder for Kinguin, actually, had Mousesports had Molotovs there. You can see the difference right away. When you don't have the economy for Molotov, it's going to be always a lot easier for a team to run such a simple strat as Kinguin just did, trying to plow down from the lower ramp to inner bomb side.
Not out of the woods yet for Mousesports here. The money's still a difficult situation for them. Chris J going to be on a max 7. Not a lot of utility to play for. No incendiaries whatsoever. And the aggression keeps continuing from Kinguin here. You see Nico is having a difficult situation here. Could go big or could end up with nothing. So let's see how this one unfolds. He's going to push through the smoke with a flash as well.
You can see the player actually turns to his right-hand side. It doesn't matter. Nico's looking for the double spray down and he gets it. And more importantly, the bomb's been dropped as well. So the CTs have started this round, as Natu said, absolutely perfectly. Kinguin need to get some entries right now, otherwise this round is pretty much all over. And there is Nex once more. Dennis chimes in. Chris J from behind does get frag. Will be a bit disappointed with that, but still, the rest of his team have pulled through.
I think the game plan from Kinguin there was to go for that first pick and especially try to force that from Ivy. Not able to do that, and then only 3 players left from Kinguin. Try to go outside, but it wasn't really feasible at that point anymore.
Finally, though, Mousesports break Kinguin and actually stabilize their own economy going into the round number 10 here. Obviously, Kinguin with a huge bank of rounds so far. Anything else at this stage, I'd say, would be a bonus. They're doing very well on this T half. And we can see they are going to get some Tech 9s. Dennis actually opting for Deagle and head armor as well, so that could cause some damage, but not much in terms of grenades here. I think they had 1 smoke going down. I assume they're just going to try and get a cheeky plant here as they come out of the Pop Dog area.
Let's see if they can push on through here into Pop Dog. Got a player in main as well, I think, or just hiding outside. So they could start to push through together. Here we go, Godby spots multiple players, and the call will come in very quickly next from the side here. From CT Connector is looking to put down the hurt, but Godby's fallen. There's Nico with 2. He's been fragged as well, and it's always going to be more expensive for the CTs in these kind of situations. And in actual fact, they could just slip away in this round. The bomb will be getting planted here. In the meanwhile, Nex has chimed in with a frag. He's looking for another one. He knows the bomb's behind the site from where he's stood, but he still falls down. Now Dennis gets a double with the Deagle, and that is a crushing defeat for Mousesports.
Honestly, though, I think that kill on Godby shouldn't have happened, but he did not invest in a head armor, causing him to die through a single bullet from a P250, which was a huge kill as well. But look at this Dennis here being a Dennis Beast, as it says in his nickname as well.
That
2
finish. They're going to be disappointed with that one, but now we can see it's when it goes a little bit wrong for Mousesports. UMP coming out once again. And absolutely no kits, no nades. This could be GG. If they lose this one, they're going to force them into double eco situation. So let's see what happens here. Kinguin definitely in the driving seat right now. First frag definitely required, I'd say, from Mousesports here. They have to find something. We see Chris J lifted on towards the inside bomb site.
That must absolutely wreck your confidence as well. Around that, you're like, we have to win this, boys. We've got all the advantages in our favor, and then suddenly there's a deagle.
You feel like you're on a comeback train. You've gone down 1-6 to start off with, and then that happens.
And they've lost the first player in this round too. Make that the second. Rain is just entering like a boss today. And to be fair, yesterday, I mentioned this before, Mirage was doing a very similar thing as well. Godby's answered back, but his position has been compromised, and Fox lands a grenade square on his head. And it's all on Chris J, who's typically been coming up from the behind on Pop Dog, and you can see here that Dennis knows exactly that, so he's just waiting with the Molotov. And Chris J with the UMP in a 1v3, I mean, no, surely not. This should be 8-3.
Well, no kit and a UMP, you don't really want to invest
odds on this one happening.
On this, dude. This could be a very difficult situation for him. And you can see the bomb does go down there, and yeah.
I think the big storyline so far in this matchup has to be Rain and his ability to get those first kills on many occasions. So it's been very hard for Mousesports, obviously struggling with the economy as well. Again, and doing a bunch of force buys in situations where maybe they should have just gone for the save.
Well, this is going to pip Kinguin, push him over to the actual half win here. So 8 rounds on the board. Mousesports, like we said, Chris J may be able to save this UMP, but I'm not really sure what he's going to do with it. Most of the other team definitely looking at a double eco here, I would say, if they want to come back with the AWP. So
pretty much.
UMP in hand for Chris J. Has got head armor as well. The other guys can't really justify forcing anything to this. Maybe some P250s. I wouldn't even say that. It's a round you cannot win. So I would say probably have Chris J baited in somewhere. Maybe he can wait an Ivy, and they can try and bait him in to get a couple of close range kills here. But you can see only one P250 being bought. It's going to be on next. The rest of the guys, like I said, can't really justify absolutely anything here. But
rate of fire and armor penetration on the UMP is surprisingly good, though. So
absolutely.
If you get into a favorable situation, things can happen.
That's what I'm saying. They can try and bait him in somewhere to give him some sort of little spray down here. There we go. The headshot is made there. We should be able to get a kill here as well. Takes down Fox, but Dennis answers back onto Dennis.
And that was a solid...
Dennis on Dennis. Sorry. I knew that was going to happen at some stage.
Kills himself. But as you can see there, they do trade that off for the AK. So now Chris J at least has that working from. The issue is that his teammates have been dropping like flies. The Godby's down to around 10 HP as well. So again, it's a similar position. We're not expecting them to win. Any weapons away would be a huge bonus. Chris J may even think about just trying to save this AK.
Yep, they should. With the economy situation that they're working with, which is pretty bad, he should definitely try and save it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got the armor to go over as well. It means he could potentially drop that gun and boost at least the equipment for his team like that.
And that's important. Yeah.
$3,100 that could come in. That boost would be absolutely phenomenal. So if he can save that, that would be very important. Let's see what he can do. He's actually be all the way towards T-spawn as well, so you would assume he's going to make it right in that cubby hole as well. But it looks like Makalele is going to be hunting him down. Hungry for some Chris J blood. To fruition this time. 9th round on the board for Kinguin. They really are running away with this series. Obviously, like we said, this is the best of one. Whoever loses this map is out of the PGL, and it's been a long road for Mousesports as well. A lot of games played. It'll be very disappointing to go out at this stage, but here we go then. They do force back into it. Like we said, Chris J saving that AK actually allows them to get a decent amount of utility on the board. 5 smokes, no incendios. Actually, 1 Molotov for Chris. But Kinguin looks like they'll be going for something very fast again. All 5 players committing to the inside zone.
I tell you what, that Twitch prediction's looking pretty damn good right now.
Oh, yeah.
We all went for Mousesports, and so far they've been getting battered and bruised. They could still potentially pull this back, but it's going to be a huge uphill struggle for them to do just that. And Kinguin, the pressure is certainly off them. They can start to maybe try and play some mind games on their opponents. Mousesports looking for information, darting around. You can see rotating between the sites now and again. And Kinguin just really playing this one slow. Maybe waiting for that delayed couple smokes onto the site. And the thing is, because they're on Pop Dog as well, they could easily just bait it and then go around to the A site as the cup goes flying. That actually scared me. I nearly fell off my chair.
I didn't know what happened there. Sorry.
It's all good though. Here comes next. He's picked himself up a couple frags. The bomb is being planted, so this is a great round so far for Mousesports. They haven't been able to stop that bomb from going down, but surely they'll be able to take this back and reclaim a site for themselves. Last player is Makalele. He's in Pop Dog. He is looking for those AWP shots. He's missed everything. He has to just back away. He's given up on this site, and it will get defused. Mousesports do get their 4th.
Yeah, Kinguin, Makalele, he can afford saving this as well, considering the situation. It's 9-4 in favor of Kinguin, still looking really poised and taking this match. Mousesports, they're trying to creep it. If they can make it a 9-6, 6-round CT side, obviously it's not something you want to have, but it's still something you can work with.
And just to analyze the coffee cup situation as well, I was trying to adjust the Wi-Fi on my laptop and actually sent a whole cup of coffee flying across the desk. So that's something that's going to be a factor going into this cast as well. So let's see how this one goes down. We're going to round number 14 now. Obviously, Mousesports needing to get into this one, and the producer comes in a bit disappointed with me.
I wish I could have took a picture of that. You look so sad.
Oh well, that's the life in a live production. Things can happen.
Certainly can. Mousesports are they're trying to claw their way back into this. I mean, even if they do finish this half at 9-6, Kinguin is still in such a huge position, and it may not even finish that way. Makalele just sitting there waiting for Nico. Nico's played very aggressively through Ivy. He's been trying to make things happen. This time around, he will be punished. Godby's been tagged down low as well. And you can see now, because of that early casualty, they've had to stack 3 players on A. That leaves B very, very vulnerable. 45 seconds to go. And Godby has answered back. That will alleviate some of the pressure. Dennis, though, has been dropped as well. And so is next. Kinguin are just getting the frags left, right, and centre. Chris J still on that side. Has spotted himself the head of Fox. And Godby does answer back as well. So maybe, just maybe, they can pull this one off. But Chris J's partner in crime, Godby, has been picked up. And both Kinguin players are pretty high in HP. And there we go. Scream landing the headshot. No huge surprises there.
Yep, and again, Rain going for the double kill in that round as well. Playing a huge, important part in Kinguin being 10-4 up here. And it's going to be a really, really bad buy for Mousesports in this last one as well. We see Nico on the scout.
We talked about this being a huge aim battle going in before, and now it seems like Rain is just leading the charge there. What can you do when you don't have the incendiaries to hold T's off? You only can like stifle them a little bit. And now we're going to the last round. Look at this fast play, aggressive round coming in from Kinguin. They just want to finish this one in style. They know they have the money advantage.
Yeah, going for the jugular. They can definitely smell that blood in the water. And Dennis has picked himself up a frag as well, so the UMP and the M4 of Mousesports is going to have to come absolutely huge if they want a chance at even getting 5 rounds on their CT side, which is absolutely brutal. I definitely did not expect it to be this one-sided. UMP coming in front. Chris J. Dennis is in Pop Dog as well. The smoke is going to stop him from pushing for now. Bomb's been planted.
We don't really invest much faith here going in. Dennis will be the final player. He will get answered at 11-4 on the T side of D-Train. This could be it for Mousesports. Obviously, it's a devastating scoreline there. Needing 12 rounds on their T side to even win this map. You think that's almost impossible at this stage again, considering the way Kinguin are playing right now.
Exactly. It was a battle of the aims, and I think you can pretty much look at the scoreboard and say which team has done a better job at it. Obviously, I think Rain has to be the biggest start of it. He's picked up 17 frags in that first half. Dennis also with those huge deagle kills to win that Eco round for them as well. So it's just been an individual effort. So much better from Kinguin so far.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So now then we go into the pistols, have a look at the Mousesports by the 2 players on utility, or everyone heading towards inside right now. Obviously, could utilise that bomb site in the inner area. It seems like they will be using the smokes. You'd assume they're going to be smoking off lower ramp, potentially towards upper as well, just getting the players out, planting as soon as possible there, and then pushing down and trying to lock down any CTs that may be waiting there. But you can see a very passive setup now. Makalele with the silenced USP there, trying to rip heads off, but Mousesports are going to be getting ready to make their way into the bomb site.
Yeah, they are waiting.
Here it comes.
Yeah, that pretty much could have just telegraphed this push. Yeah, I'm going to wait a little bit longer, though.
Wait for the nades.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Flashbang through. There's another smoke, another flash as well. You can see from Makalele's perspective, he hasn't necessarily been completely taken out this site. He's waiting for that grenade. That grenade could do so much damage. Look at it! Knocks 3 players so close to death, but the bomb's been planted anyway. That is going to give them such a good opportunity to retake this site. However, Dennis from the side can't get anything done. Chris J's landed a point-blank range headshot as well. The terrorists are ahead in terms of men, but they are definitely behind in terms of HP, and that's definitely going to be the case now with Fox landing the headshot onto Nex. The issue is they don't have a defuse kit, so they're going to have to get a move on. Nico's landed yet another headshot. This time it's onto Rain. It's all up to that man Fox. He's picked up the first frag, but there's not enough time for him to defuse this, so he's just going to go for the frag instead, and he will get it onto Nico. Still low. Round goes to Mousesports, and that was so required for them.
Yeah, that killed Nico caught on upper ramp there in that 2-2 situation. Pretty much sealed the deal, and Mousesports trying to take that last chance they have. Literally their last chance.
Well, absolutely. We saw that tactic. We said the smoke's coming down low, and actually quite a nice delayed reply there. We thought, I'll bait the nades out, but that airstrike grenade from Makaleli did about 170 damage, I think. It was absolutely brutal, but not enough to give them the round. You can see the force bar coming back in, though. 2 scouts. It's going to be Makaleli and Fox picking those ones up. 2 all players of the team. They actually get a first tag as well. Chris J going down to half HP after that first confrontation now.
It's going to be very rough here for the CTs to hold on to this. They're losing players across the board. And it's all on Dennis and Rain. Bomb's been planted. And with the 5-7 armor, I'm guessing again we're just going to see this kind of look for a couple of exit frags, if not pull back, save those.
Well, this is the thing. Now you know that the round is definitely lost.
Yeah.
The bomb goes down. It's a 5-on-2, and they've got the head armor and 5-7s as well. It's just not viable even going for exits. The best option here is probably just try and save it as much as you can. And you can see Dennis going back there. Like, even if he got the kill, he wasn't going to survive. They got the information as to where he'd be at that stage. So he probably just wanted to save the guns and try and have another go when you got even a percentage chance of winning a round. But both players do go down. And when you win the first half 11-4 as well, if I was calling that situation, I'd probably be waiting for the first gun round just to kind of give yourself the best chance of finishing this one early. Like we talk about that percentage chance. You don't need to win that second round when you've got this much of a bed. This is like actually screwing yourself over going into the first gun round now, as now they won't have the AWP or the equipment to play with, and it could be drawn out a little bit further than they would actually like. But needless to say, we go into the next round here, and looks like Mousesports actually be favouring towards the Pop Dog area, going very fast. Chris J already out on main.
Yeah, very fast push here. You can see a couple, or you could hear a couple things. I think it's from the USP, so didn't do too much damage to Nico. That's up in the heaven from Makaleli. He's going to be picked off. Chris J gets a second frag as well. And this pretty much is just a throwaway round for Kinguin. They're not hoping to get a great deal out of this one. Rain does answer back, but that's probably all she wrote here for Kinguin. Screen is going to be surrounded. And we saw before as well that Rain has 18 frags. But the stat that doesn't read out of that is how many of those have been huge impact frags, like the entries on the T side. Like, he was just absolutely ridiculous. And I think he's nearly got the most deaths as well. It shows how super aggro he was on the T side.
Yeah, that's always going to be the price you pay. How hard can that be? The price you pay when you're playing that aggressive playstyle that he does. So, yeah, definitely. I don't think it really matters at the point how many deaths he has, as he's had so many impact kills here as well.
Kinguin going to be hoping he can land a few more here, because Mousesports, although they still have a lot of ground to cover before they even get even, they are at least starting the best possible way on the T side. Here we go, though. Here come the weapons. Not a great deal of equipment in the back pocket of Kinguin. Just a smoke and a couple flashes with a HE and 1 defuse kit.
This is what we talked about there after that second round force. Could cost you more rounds than you actually wanted to. It looks like Mousesports once again going towards the inner site.
Indeed will be. Smokes and flashes coming down. Here comes the 4-man push. Dennis is in a good position to maybe rattle off a few frags. There's the first one and a second one as well. He definitely did his job, though. A 2-for-1 trade in that situation is fantastic. And there is Scream as well, just answering back. So Kinguin trying to resume this 5-round lead. God B, your last remaining player, doesn't have the bomb. It's dropped on B. And this is a horrific position for him to be in.
Yeah, he's going to be stuck towards that T-spawn area. Knows he's not going to get anywhere near that bomb. So the only option here really is just going to be the full-on save, heading towards Ivy. But yeah, we talked about Kinguin. That round, definitely a situation. They didn't have the equipment. They only had 1 kit between them. And now, after winning this one, you can see they pick up the AWP, stabilize everything. So this could have been a difficult situation for them, but they win the first round. And Dennis on the inside bomb site, great movement from him. Read the situation very well. Saw what was going on. The smoke comes down. He just pushes straight up, and the AWP is going to be waiting the first frag for him. And he's always going to win that one-on-one duel at that range. So picks up 2 as well, and actually wins the round for his team. So fantastic stuff from him. 4 players surviving as well. It's actually going to be in a very healthy situation considering the scoreline.
Yeah, God B will be able to save that AK. And that's it from Mousesports' perspective. So round 20. Economy is decent enough. You're going to see naught picked up maybe from Mousesports.
I think that would be a wise decision. You can see Nex has got 7 grand there. They like to work picks on this map.
There we go.
So Chris J, well, we didn't see him AWPing too much in the first half, maybe due because he was playing the inside area, close range, but let's see what he can do here. Does favour the main area.
This time Fox taking more of an aggressive push just outside of Pop Dog. Can hear some movement as well maybe from the T's. Molotov thrown in just to stop the initial push. Mousesports are happy. We've seen this strat a couple times from them already. Just waiting.
Look at how much more up to Mousesports' face is Kinguin playing.
Yeah.
Really that much more aggressive on their CT.
Absolutely. This is what we were talking about before the game as well. A pop flash comes in. Scream's got one and a second frag as well. In fact, it was Fox that picked up the second one, but the end result is the same for Team Kinguin. A 2-player advantage with a minute to go. And that starves the Terrorists of so many options. So maybe going for a bit of a desperation push, trying to avenge their fallen comrades. And they walk right into Dennis. They have got the early trade on him, but there is Dennis getting avenged from Scream. So bomb's getting planted from Chris J. He's got an AWP, not necessarily the greatest weapon in this position, and he's missed the first shot. Very comfortable round for Kinguin in the end, and it really did just come off the back of super aggression now.
Exactly, yeah. When you're not letting our opponents execute any of their plans they're having, then it's going to be that much harder, especially when you have this much individual skill as in Kinguin. So it's looking super grim for Mousesports at this point.
So 2 nice pop flashes into main there. Scream, what a player you'd want to go in that situation. Flash players in front of him. That's his bread and butter, really, going in and just hitting shots. So he manages to pick up 2 to open up the round, and obviously the rest of Mousesports there are stuck towards the inside area, and they will crumble. But now they do force bite. The round, I say, they have to win if they want to have any chance of getting back into this as they make their way onto the outside bomb side now.
The Molly is landing thick and fast, but Mousesports just walking in single file, and Fox will oblige with 2 beautiful spray down frags. He will finally get taken down, but here's Kinguin once more. They've got 2 AWPs in play up against Dennis. The smoke is going to help him somewhat, but it has just dissipated. He's on E-box, very nearly gets tagged on the way across, so at least they have the information of where he currently is. And he doesn't have the bomb, but he will have in a couple seconds' time. So I guess in that sense, guys, he's got maybe a glimmer of hope in this round.
The fact there's 2 AWPs up against him, I'd say those guys want to get an M4 picked up ASAP just so they can push him when he's actually planting the bomb.
Yeah, at least if he gets the bomb down.
So he's going to be waiting some. He has got a lot to play with as well. 50 seconds on the board, a couple of flashbangs, but the difficulty is it's all going to come down to his little nuances we talk about and the timing he decides to go for here. He's going to make his way into quad, but let's see what goes on. The AWPs, there we go. The pick has... Well, the spot has been made at least.
Yeah, almost waiting there just outside of main. Try and bait across Kinguin to thinking that he could potentially be on the B side. You can see the Dennis now rotating through. What Dennis Beast rotating through to this side. Spots his opposite number, puts him down with ease. And now Kinguin 14-7. What do we reckon? Is this too far gone with that economy?
Yeah. It's yeah, they've missed their train, haven't they?
Yeah, in more ways than one, I'm afraid. So they go into this one potentially looking down the barrel of map and match point, it should be said. Like we say, all the games have led to this one. The loser does go out the tournament, and now they are going to do the forceful buy here. So you can see Tech9s and Galil as well. You assume something very simple required from them just to try and get an early frag. Smoke's going out to main. And he's just trying to get the bomb down and force that post-plant situation we spoke about.
Playing slow again. Molotov's going to stop the push just for now.
The distraction play on the outside. They're just trying to get any sort of attention they can towards that outside before they execute in, and that could actually be an amazing start to the campaign.
You can see Nex on 1 HP though. God B's very low as well. So if they do start clumping together towards that site, we could see some Molotovs landing. There's 2 of them in the play, but meanwhile it's Rain that is putting down the damage and the pain, and he's on the main right now. So a very difficult position for the Terrorists to flush out when they have such a lack of utility. You can see Nico's being tagged down heavily as well. He's got that Deagle in play. We know what he's capable of doing. Bomb's been planted. Dennis lands the AWP shot onto his opposite Dennis once more. And Mousesports surely can't hold on to this site with the weaponry that's up against them.
Well, it was challenging before the 4-on-1 situation. Is going to be almost impossible. So 15-7, and I think that is the GG officially now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it has to be pointed out, Dennis is hitting a lot of shots as well. And what's impressive about this guy is that he was away for more than a year and a half, actually. And he's just been very good right off the bat. It's not like he's not in a phase at all about the fact that he's been away. And I think he's only going to get better as well. So Kinguin just looking very good and very sharp. Everyone's hitting their shots, and just the way they're playing as a unit as well. I mean, they like to play the snowball kind of a game where they just try to plow over you with a lot of skill that they have, but just the way they make it look is, yeah, it's looking good.
There we go. Dennis, like you said, you have another frag and make it 2 because Scream picks up another one, and now it's a 4-on-2 situation. You have to assume this is it, and we're waiting to close this one out.
Yep, that life support machine may be about to be unplugged for Mousesports. 2 players make that just the 1 now. What can he do from this position? I don't think there's a great deal, honestly. You can see from Akaleli's perspective that next, my apologies, is the last player left. He's been headshotted from Scream, and a comfortable win in the end for Kinguin. A game I thought would be incredibly close, ended up being anything but close.
Well, yeah, I don't think the scoreline does the game justice. If you consider how the first half went down, Kinguin and Rain especially just being absolutely formidable, getting 2 frags almost every single round, it felt like. And what can you do? We talked about this game being a heavy aim duel, and one team really did dominate in that situation.
Yeah. Mousesports had no answers. It felt like all the time. When you're losing that first guy in all the time, when you're playing in CT, it's going to make it impossible defending any sides. You're always going to have a spot where you're going to be weaker, and Kinguin's just going to exploit that with all the skill they have.
Well, let's have a look at the scoreboard here and see how that one went down. And maybe we can see who stepped up. You can see now.
I think Rain is pretty much high.
Well, yeah, Rain, like we said, he probably got a lot of deaths on the board there. But when you're going in and getting those first kills a lot of time, he actually only got 3. But I don't think that, I guess, when you consider the amount of 1 and then second kills he got as well, that doesn't come into a factor here. He was actually opening up bomb sites by himself, getting the first frag, but more times than not, getting the second as well. Absolutely formidable, like we said. So let's have a look at the Mousesports team as well. We talked about Nico being a huge factor. Not a quiet night for him, but obviously not the godlike status. Godby and Dennis are probably the ones letting Mousesports down a little bit. What can you do when you've got the likes of Scream, Rain, and Dennis as well? We talked about him. He's one of the players that doesn't really get the spotlight on this team, but like you said, I love watching him. I think he's a great impact player, can find some really big frags, and we saw that Deagle round from him as well. So that sums it up, really. Let's have a look at the heat map now and see if we can get or paint a picture for everyone at home as to where the areas of contention did lie. So just to remind you, the colours are just a representation of the teams themselves. This is a T-side play from both sides. Wow, so Kinguin, look at that amount of kills they got on the outside area. Just once they got rolling and they got the momentum, they were so keen just to get out as fast as possible and make the frags work for them, especially towards that connector area as well. That's where they seem to find almost all their frags, a massive lit up area there. And we look at Mousesports, not really much going on at all apart from the pistol.
I think the defining moment of the match, if you look at the scoreline as well, is when Kinguin was up 6-1 and then Mousesports won 2 in a row. And then that Deagle round happened. But I think the biggest impact kill in that round was the fact that Goppy not having a head armor, losing to a single P250 bullet going down, and then they just fell down like dominoes. It just fell apart, and everything went down the drain. And then you see Mousesports only picking up 1 round after that particular round.
Absolutely right. That forced by, the Deagle round especially, that was the one. It seemed like Mousesports finally built some momentum. But let's have a look at the MVP for this evening's first game. It's going to be Dennis, actually. So not the highest fragger, but one of the most impactful rounds I'd say in the whole series. That 2-on-1 Deagle play. I'm sure we'll get some replays of that coming up soon. But that was where the game really did shift in favour of Kinguin. It looked like the chance the Mousesports actually had the opportunity to get some momentum. They finally stabilised their economy, and like you said, that first P250 kill coming in, and then Deagle mania ensuing after that. So that is the first game done for tonight. We have got 2 more to go. So we are going to take a very quick break now, Dover. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back very soon. Inside, not have to face against armoured players and get some quick headshots on the board. He's not going to force the situation every single time. It'll allow Dennis to actually take that role.
At the same time, he's playing inner bomb side, so maybe that's
getting planted here. In the meanwhile, Nex has chimed in with a frag. He's looking for another one. He knows the bomb's behind the site.
We talked about this being a huge aim battle going in before this before, and right now it seems like Rain is just leading the charge there. One good position
to maybe rattle off a few frags. And there's the first one and a second one as well. He definitely did his job, though.
Actually, and he's just been